Happy, happy, joy, joy, happy, happy, joy, joy, happy, happy, joy, joy, happy, happy, joy, joy, happy, happy, joy.
I just wanted to mention a couple of beautiful things that have happened. In January, I basically just kind of left my career and work. I just gave up the struggle, and I started to really explore the freedom and the joy and all the things that I have really learned in the teachings. And in the process of that, I decided to do a 3,000-mile search for Abraham Hicks on Match.com. And these 3 profiles came up, and I ended up meeting a beautiful man who I'm here with today. So it has just continued to be this wonderful journey. And recently I was listening...
We have a very brief question for you. What's the difference between giving up the struggle and making peace with what is?
I guess that probably is the same thing.
If you make it the same thing, we want it to be the same thing. Because making peace with what is does give up the struggle. But sometimes when people say, I'm giving up the struggle, they attempt to walk away from unwanted things. And in that trying to walk away from unwanted things, they're acknowledging the existence of the unwanted things. So they haven't given up the struggle. And so it just sort of follows them around.
I think it had followed, even though I'm embarrassed to say I learned about LOA in 1986, I think the struggle has been following me with that same...
We just wanted to point that out.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you. Yeah, I mean, actually, my body sort of just said, I can't struggle anymore, and that kind of, got the rest of me going there. And but once that happened, and I really started staying in the vortex more, it's become very magical.
Well,
and
staying in the
beautiful.
vortex is giving up the struggle, so you've got that covered.
Okay,
Good.
great.
Good.
I was listening to an audio clip of a woman who wanted to move towards something, one of your audio clips, and create money, but she didn't really have any particular interests. And you said something like, when you see the right investment, you'll know it. And that just really stuck with me. And so a few days later, a woman came to my house selling cable service door to door. And as I was talking to her, I just thought she had the most beautiful eyes, and I really wanted to connect with her. But I didn't want the cable service, so we separated, and she walked away. And as she was at the end of the driveway, she turned around and yelled back at me, "Are you an Aber?" And I didn't really know what she meant, so I walked back towards her. I said, "What?" And she said, "Are you into Abraham Hicks?" And I said, "Yes." And she said, "I could see it in your eyes." And so it was just a beautiful connection. And so a few days later, she mentioned a friend that she had with a creative business investment. And I didn't have a chance to call him, but later, a few days later, he and I both ended up at this little get-together of how to stay in the vortex. And we seem to be business soulmates. And so my new story is about creating this financial success with fun and passion and co-creativity and ease and, of course, with focused thought. And I feel very aligned with this particular success. And
we like all of that, and we like the new story, and we are going to let you finish this sentence. We just want to stick something in here.
Okay.
And that is, it's lovely to tell a new story, and it's also lovely to make peace with what is.
Yeah.
And we just want to keep inserting that for you because you are where you are, and where you are is an important thing. And when you're making peace with where you are, then it allows the new story to evolve and unfold more comfortably. But in the making peace with where you are, look at the wonderful things that you've just explained that have just been happening.
Yeah.
In other words, making peace with what is and telling the new story, and then telling the new story about the wonderful things that are happening. In other words, it becomes a sort of cycle that just feeds on itself. You get the sense of what we're talking about? And mostly we're saying all of this to you because we can feel that you are like so many people. You're going to overwork this.
Yes, that is my tendency.
You're going to make too much of it, and there's if you can just sort of softly accept that it's opened up, it's unfolding, you're on the roll, and so now you can just allow the universal forces to do what they do while you feel for those feelings of inspiration. Because you see what happens when you get into the vortex. At first you have to feel your way in. That's why we say it's an emotional journey. And so when you care enough about how you feel that you fix on things that help you to feel good so that you're in the vortex, as you said you are, and you often are, in the vortex, in the vortex, in the vortex, then the vortex begins affecting the circumstances. And when that begins to happen, your translation of the vortex becomes more. At first, you just felt it. But now you begin having thoughts. Now you begin having rendezvous. By the time cable people are meeting you in the driveway, you've got a really powerful thing going on. And the rendezvous of the business partner, when you say, he feels like my business soulmate, what you're saying, that soulmate is mating with your soul. In other words, it's your alignment with your inner being that you're feeling, that this person may very well be a catalyst to, and may very well be a vibrational match to, but it's your harmony with you that you're describing here. And we just want you to feel that, because once you get there, it's like get into the vortex no matter what, then the vortex affects the manifestation. Get into the vortex no matter what, and then the vortex affects the manifestation. But pretty soon the manifestation affects being in the vortex, and the vortex affects the manifestation, and then the manifestation affects the vortex. Pretty soon you get a cycle going here if you don't overwork it. You can kill it with effort. You can kill it with overthinking it. You can't kill the vortex. We mean you can slow down the momentum.
This has definitely been the tendency of my life, yes, to overwork. So thank you.
So we interrupted you. You were on a good roll there.
So, and I mean, this is a little bit of the old story, but it was very revealing to me about how I've used financial scarcity and debt to limit my innate desire to expand and become.
And those are good words. So think about how perfect those words are. I focused on what I didn't want, which set up resistance to what I did want. Now you used the words that people use all the time, but put it in law of attraction terms, put it in vortex terms. I simply can't focus upon the opposite of what I want without negatively affecting my relationship with my vortex, which is necessary to get everything that I want.
And I think there has been a fear, something disconcerting or unfamiliar about being that free to completely have anything.
Well, it's because you don't have enough faith in the vortex yet. You're not yet trusting. You're not trusting the process. You've been banking on the effort things that you can control. And this is the conversation that we had just a little bit ago. When you can accomplish a great deal through effort, and that effort does become familiar. So you do begin to allow the good things to come to you, because if I do this, this will happen, and if I do this, this will happen. But I don't really want to do this, and if I stop doing this, then what will happen?
There's like almost a little emptiness that comes in there.
But it's because you're, and almost everybody else, still counting on the manifestation or counting on your effort in order to make you trust the process. But in time, what effort did you do to rendezvous with someone who asks you if you are an Aber?
I was just in the vortex that day.
Did you? How did that happen? How did she find you? Do you think that she researched and only goes to those? Do you think that she asks everybody that question?
She didn't even have a car. She just came out of nowhere.
Do you think that she asks everyone that question, or do you think that was a vortexual rendezvous?
Absolutely.
And so once those things start happening, then you start being all right with the unfamiliar, because and this is the thing. We are glad that you introduced that word, because fear of the unknown, fear of the unfamiliar. But when you have trust or faith in the vortex, which means the law's not unfamiliar. It's so consistent, it stinks. It's not unfamiliar. It's not unfamiliar. Your emotions aren't unfamiliar. You know what thoughts make you feel bad and what thoughts cause you to feel good. That's not unfamiliar. The laws of the universe are not unfamiliar. This body of work is not unfamiliar. In other words, so when you focus upon what is familiar and you remember that it always works, and then when you get into that awareness, and then you begin thinking of, well, it worked here and here and here and here and here and here, then in time the familiar becomes boring and mundane, while the unfamiliar becomes your playground, because isn't it the new and exciting that you always want? Do you take the same vacation every year? Well, I don't want to go to a new place. It will be unfamiliar.
Yeah, right.
I don't want to do anything. I only want to do familiar things. So we always go to the same place and we do the same things with the same people and we talk about the same things because we like familiar. And we say, no, you don't. You don't like familiar. You want unfamiliar. You want new. You want expansion. You want growth. You want freedom. You're not looking for familiars. Fear of the unfamiliar, fear of the unknown. What a nutty. Nobody has fear of the unknown. You know what you're afraid of? You're afraid of not, you know what fear is? Fear is not letting yourself be all that you can be. Yeah. It's the opposite of that. Fear of the unknown is a ridiculous statement. It doesn't even measure up in terms of the laws of the universe at all.
Well, I guess when I stopped working and each day I create on my own, and it's just so beautiful to be that free, but there's a little part of me that, the caretaking and all that,
couldn't possibly work enough to earn all that you deserve.
Yeah.
You just can't possibly do it.
Yeah.
There aren't enough hours in the day, and nobody will pay you that much money.
Yeah.
In other words, you have to trust the universe. You have to allow the vortex to yield it to you, or the vortex to cue it up for you, and you to yield it to you, to yourself, by feeling the fear and recognizing how bogus it is, and by acknowledging what it is. It's me thinking an opposite thought of what the knowledge of my vortex holds. And as you do that and do that and do that and do that, the vortex will cue up things for you. People will watch you and they will say, there's injustice in the universe. That guy came last year and got in the chair, and that guy came this year and got in the chair. Not only did he get in the chair once today, he got in the chair twice. That's injustice. And we say that's law of attraction. That's vibration. That's expectation. That's faith. That's trust. That's the universe yielding to you. Yes.
Well, I am very excited about this business venture, and it does seem to have a lot of fun and ease. And
did you say this business adventure?
Yeah. Yeah.
What's the difference between a business venture and a business adventure?
Well, this seems different because, leaving the struggle where you're working all the time, this seems to just, my business partner is very much LOA, and so we're just allowing things to come to us. And I don't really want to work on it unless I'm in the vortex on that day, and I integrate a lot of play with the working instead of working every day. And
it's just the tip of the iceberg. There's so much more. In other words, that's just a step along the way, 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 along the way.
Yeah.
So much more.
Yeah. Okay.